Hello! With the recent patch we got the Skilltree changes, and with the Skilltree changes there came a lot of new builds, a lot of mix-up builds, some losers and some winners. In my opinion, one of the biggest winner of this patch was Sissy. So Sissy is considered always one of the weakest family. He has no real damage, so because of her base damage is so low, you could combine that with Fired Up and then you still had some damage and could go full chasing. But then she still was weaker in the chase and had less damage than the Johnny. You could go play some Blood Feeding Sissy, but I would say Hitchhike and Cook were able to do it better. And Hitch and Cook could defend something while they were collecting blood, and Sissy didn't have that. And yeah, she can go through gaps, right, and chase and kill, but Hitchhiker can do the same, but has some lockdown. So yeah, Sissy was, in my opinion, always the weakest family member. I think she is probably better than Nancy now. She's obviously still not S tier or in the top tier, but she has a lot of new perks and some variety, and you can mix builds up a lot and yeah, play how you want her to play, still be dangerous, be annoying to the victims, stick on them, chase them, and kinda defend some gates if you want to a little bit if you spray your poison on the gates. So in this video we're going to talk about her new skill tree and a loadout, and as always we're going to start with the attribute points. Sissy, like I said in the beginning, she doesn't have a lot of damage, so putting all the points you get into savagery is, in my opinion, the best way, because the more savagery, the more damage, and yeah, the more damage you have, the less hits you need to kill a victim. The problem always would be on high savagery that you do not have enough points in endurance, and that is countered with a perk she has, so even though you put all your points in savagery, most of the time you will never have stamina issues with Sissy at all. As long as you run towards a victim and before you hit them or after you hit them once or twice, you just wait for a second for your stamina to be back. Then we're going with a blood harvesting. The blood harvesting is kinda high base kit, that's why I always think she's kinda one of the weakest one, because so many points are spent in points which only good to pick up blood buckets, and picking up blood buckets and feeding Cramper is not very efficient against high level victims, because if you run from bucket to bucket you're not defending anything, you're sometimes on random places in the map where there's nothing to defend, just so you get Grandpa leveled up, and with a single step or Maria talk or whatever, they can completely negate your ability or the whole playstyle. And then you manage to level up Grandpa to level 3, they escape through a gate, or you leveled him level 3, they get agitated and get him back to 0, so all you did in the game was for nothing. So for me it was always more efficient to defend stuff and kill them, and after you defended your stuff and killed somebody, then you go and feed Grandpa. But nevertheless, 38 blood harvesting is a very nice number, because with 38 blood harvesting base kit, you do get 25 blood per bucket. So Sissy is also very fast movement speed, she can go through gaps. So getting from bucket to bucket is very nice, and you only need 4 buckets to get Grandpa level up. And having Grandpa level up gives you access to all the Grandpa perks, and the best, in my opinion, are Exterior Alarm, Suffocating Grip, and Nobody Escapes Hell. So yeah, having Grandpa at least level 1 to activate one of those perks is always very, very nice, and with her base attribute points, she is just perfect to collect some blood in the beginning, especially since she doesn't have anything to set up, right? So Cook needs to put padlocks down, Hitchhiker needs to put traps down, Hans needs to put traps, etc, etc. Sissy doesn't need to do that, so collecting buckets in the beginning of the game is not a huge waste, because she has nothing else that she can do, unless you wanna poison some items, but we're gonna talk about that later. Then her endurance is, like I said, quite low. Endurance means how many hits you can get in before you run out of stamina. Your hits are going to be a little bit faster with higher stamina, so your hit frequency goes up. And yeah, the time it takes for your stamina to regenerate once you're not sprinting anymore, if you just walk or stand still. Okay, so this is about her attribute points, and now we're going to talk about her skill tree. The skill tree, you go the same way you were going back in the old days, you go right, because on the right, she also got a new perk. So by going right, you have the exact same thing you had back in the days. By that I mean exterior alarm and nobody scalps hell. You can go for universal donor if you want to commit to blood feeding. You have scout over here, easily tuck it out and fired up is also very strong combination. And now the new perk wireframe, so you can either go through gaps faster when you want to collect buckets, or while you are in a chase you go through the gaps faster. It's a very, very, very strong perk. Probably the best chase perk in the game. And if you have someone chasing you with wireframe, you will never escape unless you're going to find a ladder phase, bubble breakable, where Sissy cannot follow you through. And then also her best, in my opinion, it's not the best, but it's a very fun and a new, unique utility or unique perk, is Efficient Herbalist, because you can deny the victims the heal. And in this meta heal is kind of rare, so denying them all the heal possible can be very, very annoying, and we had some very good games with it already, where the victims actually told us they died because of it. So this is very good. I do still think one of her best perks is Slinger, because the cloud stays longer and is, you know, larger in the diameter. So if you really want to have some lockdown with Sissy, you need to put Linger on a gate and let it there. But yeah, the biggest problem about her skill tree, if you want to have her good unique perks or her best unique perks, you miss out on Scout. Missing out on Scout is something I would never recommend ever in my life. So yeah, going right is, in my opinion, the best way. You have the best perks, the best grandpa perks, the most fun perks, and you also, which I'm going to show you later, have a lot of variety on how to play her depending on your team, on your map, or the mood of your day. Okay, so now we're going to talk about her perks. And in my opinion, I would consider this is going to be your base loadout, which you can run on every single game, and you will be very annoying and also kind of deadly in all of your games by running Sissy. The first perk is always Scout, because Scout gives you movement speed. Back in the days it had damage debuff, which is not the case anymore. The the stamina regeneration debuff, well, that's kind of like nothing. I would not consider this a debuff, so yeah. Having more movement speed allows you to go from gate to gate quicker if you want to defend them, or your teammates needs help, you go to your teammates there quicker. If you want to collect buckets, you run from bucket to bucket quicker. It doesn't matter how you see it, it's always better. And the best is because if you manage to see a victim and you run up to them, you can always get 1 or 2 more hits in before they are too far away from you if you run Scout. So yeah, every scenario, every situation where you're in as a family member, you always want to have Scout. The second perk is Fired Up, and Fired Up is perfect especially for Sissy because she does not have a lot of endurance. Fired Up says that after you run out of stamina, there's a 75% less delay before your stamina starts regenerating. It sounds a little bit weird, so it says if you run out of stamina. So you might think now, okay, so I have to be at 0 stamina, and then, I guess she doing the angry I ran out of stamina animation is shorter, and then it's that. No. This counts every single time when you stop sprinting. You have 75% stamina left, you stop sprinting, bam, your stamina is instantaneously back. And if you're 1% stamina, you stand still, bam, your stamina starts regenerating. So yeah, and that's what I mean with, if you were in the chase, you just have to be careful. You run up to a victim. Once you reach the victim, you can just check your stamina, look how fast it is, or in general, just always before you even look, start walking. And then while you're walking, look at your stamina bar and wait until it's back to full, and then start hitting. If you do that, you should most of the time be fine. And in combination with wireframe, or if they really take a gap, or you want to use your poison powder during a chase, you stand still, and that also all these actions, taking gap, all these actions trigger with fired up. So yeah, most of the time, like I said, if you're chasing a victim, you just take one single gap and bam, you're back on full stamina. So very, very, very strong perk, especially for someone who does not have a lot of endurance. And then your third perk, in my opinion, you always want to run wireframe, because if you really say, okay, I'm gonna stick to a victim, I'm gonna chase him down, or just be time efficient. If you need to help your teammates, you can go through gaps, or if you wanna cut a victim off who's chasing and you try to mind game a loop, having wireframe is always helpful in those scenarios. So yeah, wireframe is just a very, very, very strong perk, and now she can have it, so there's no reason not to go for it. If you wanna mix it up but still be deadly and go damage, there are some things you can do. So one is easily tuckered out. Easily tuckered out means that your attacks use less stamina, but your regeneration is lower. So you have to be a little bit more careful. So you walk up to a victim, or you sprint to them, then walk for a bit so your stamina is back, and then you can machine gun. I call it always machine gun Sissy, because you can get so many hits in. She also hits very, very fast, so her base attack speed is super low, super high. So yeah, in combination with easily tuckered out means you go to a victim, stand still, and then get your 12 hits in 3 seconds. Very, very strong, especially for Sissy. So if that's what you want to do, that's also an option. Then if you manage to get yourself fought a lot, so maybe you don't have a Baba in your team, maybe you like to commit to chases every once in a while, I would not recommend going down the basement or going too far away from your gate. But if you say, okay, I do have teammates who I can trust that they defend my gate, or I do have a Sissy poison there and I pay attention to that, and every time I want to commit to a victim now, they're going to stab me and fight me, then you can take activated, because after you lost a close encounter, you got door slammed or you get stabbed from behind. For the next 40 seconds, you have 20% more damage. And the 20% more damage is huge, because most of the time that means that you need 1 hit less. So now instead of needing 6 hits to kill them, you only need 5 hits. Depending obviously on their toughness, right? But I would say it's very strong, especially because it lasts 40 seconds. And then the other thing you can do, if you still want to go damage, but you say, okay, well, I do not really like committing to chases, I like to stay in my area, and if I have nobody here, or my ladder face is defending, or there's only a few left, I like to have something to do instead of just standing there and waiting there, you can pick Efficient Herbalist. I, for myself, really like that. I also start the game, do not really collect buckets, because you kind of have to pick if you want to collect buckets or poison, because if you want to do both, that's not enough time. And then starting to poison all the items upstairs, right? I chase someone over there, here's a health potion, a poison, go back to my side, and slowly but steady, the longer the match goes, the more items are poisoned. Also, if a teammate, you can say, can you defend my side here for a second, I want to feed Grandpa, and on your way to Grandpa you poison more items. Or you see a victim who is like close to your gate, you chase the victims down the basement, so you force them back down. And once you're already down, you can just check closest spots right to the door in the basement and poison those items as well. And yeah, slowly but steady get all the health items poisoned. If you have a very, very strong team or a lot of pressure, you can also commit a little bit more to poisoning items. But yeah, that's obviously depending on your team, on your playstyle, on the situation, on the map, on how fast the victims are playing. But this is a very fun perk. And if you poison a health item, the victims cannot use them for the rest of the game. So yeah, you kinda deny them a big health potion. So aim for the big ones first. So yeah, these are the 4 perks I would consider in your base loadout when you wanna be the I defend stuff, I wanna a little bit chase stuff and kill loadout. And then for the second loadout, if you say, oh no, I wanna hardcore commit to feeding Grandpa, I would say 50 blood harvesting universal donor is the way. Now you need 5 buckets in total to get Grandpa level 2, which is very, very strong. Especially because she can have Nobody Escapes Hell and Exterior, 2 of the 3 best Grandpa perks. So yeah, having her feeding Grandpa now, especially with wireframe, right? You can take shortcuts, run from bucket to bucket super fast. Sissy movement speed is super fast. You combine that with Scouts, so you're very time efficient and just hardcore commit to buckets. And then I would say still put some points in Savagery, because every time you stand still to collect a bucket, your stamina will refill. But if you run into a victim from a bucket to bucket, you can maybe get 1 or 2 hits in. You have to be really careful to not run out of stamina, but then at least those 1 or 2 hits count. But yeah, obviously if you say, okay, nah, I never really want to do that, whenever I try it, I run out of stamina, it's annoying, it's punishing, you can obviously put those points out as well, put them in endurance, which means now you are not deadly at all, right? But this can also be a downside. You already have 120 blood in your store. Then you find a victim, you only hit them once or twice, and well, they're dead because they were low. So you stole a kill, if you want to say it like that, and you wasted a lot of blood, right? So you can also put full endurance, but that obviously depends on you, how you feel it. I think having a little bit points on Savage Yuzu are not completely useless when it comes to chasing or killing, and they just ignore you because you have no damage is the way. Okay, so then we're going to have the executions here. I would say Gutted Pig is the most brutal killing animation we have at the moment in this game. It does take very long though, in my opinion, so that's a downside. So that obviously depends on you, right? If you want a short and a quick execution, you just take the killing tease. It's her fastest one. But yeah, Gutted Pig, most brutal, most painful in my opinion. And I do like the gore, so I do like this. And if you say, okay, that's like completely new one, and I want a little bit more of an aesthetic but brutal one, Claws Out is very, very nice. The way Sissy kills her victim there is maybe one of the most aesthetic kill, but it also is very brutal and it looks nice. So yeah, those are my 2 favorite killing executions for Sissy. And now we're going to talk about her ability. And as always, we're going to start from the top and work our way to the bottom, so we have a clue what you want to go. So with this, you can poison bone scraps and toolboxes. By the time I'm making this video, there is still no notification on your right side if you poison a victim. That same counts for health potions. So if you poison a health potion, they pick it up, they consume it, you do not get a notification. If you poison fuse box, if you poison anything and they pick it up, you do not get a notification, but the victim is poisoned. If you are super close by, you can see, because there's this little noise indicator, the same way if they run past the chicken, but besides that, you will get no feedback. Also, it just deals a little bit of damage and makes your drunken effect. I would say it's not really... Or it deals no damage because you can't have the level 2, right? So it just deals you the drunk effect, it gives a noise indicator. So overall, as long as Dinner Bell is not working on her, or as long as you do not get a notification, I would not pick it. If there will be the day that Dinner Bell walks on her poison, or that you get a notification victim poisoned, and maybe the noise indicator would be a little bit better to see across the map, maybe the victim would be highlighted red for a second, maybe just for Sissy. In case one of that, I would go for this one for sure, because now you can put Efficient Herbalist, poison all the items and all the stuff while you have nothing to do, and get a lot of informations for your teammate. And the other one is here, you can use it on car battery and generator, which is in my opinion the worst of them all, because even if you would see it with dinner bell or get a notification, if you ride next to the car battery gate, you stand there and then you get a notification, the victim lights up that he's turning gen off or car battery off. The time it takes you to run from the gate to the gen is enough time for them to turn it off, so completely useless. I don't know why you would ever want to do that, so yeah. And on the middle one, you do make them lose HP. So if you use your item, if you use your poison to defend a gate or a door, most of the time a experienced victim will just go in there and open it while they are in there. They will get highlighted, and with that they take at least a little bit of damage. And yeah, if you use your poison on fuse or pressure tank or on hitchhiker tramp, then it also deals a little bit of damage. It's not a lot, it's maybe 10-15 damage, but yeah, still better than any other one. So since we say, okay, we go middle, then we had the option to go all three of them. And then obviously I was my entire Sissy life not sure if like the poison staying 5 seconds longer because it's from 50 to 55, or if the victim, when he triggers the trap, is 1.5 seconds longer poison. That obviously depends on your playstyle. So before they gave Sissy wireframe, I always went for this, so at least I can lock down a gate and have a little bit of a lockdown. But since now she can have wireframe and you can use your poison when they take a gap and then go after them with wireframe, having the longer effect is in my opinion now better. But yeah, that obviously, like I said, depends on your playstyle, right? Do you wanna chase the victims more? Do you wanna be more chasey and more annoying? Or do you wanna be more campy and more painful for the victim to outplay a game? So yeah, depending on that situation, you either pick the longer cloud staying duration or the longer poison duration. Right side is completely useless, right? So you pick up your dinger faster, your powder faster. So it's now instead of 4 seconds, it's 2 seconds. Yes, it is annoying, but not worth it. I would always have one of these. I go, like I said, at the moment for this one, so I can actually chase with wireframe. And then obviously, right, those two won't stack. There's the same. This is, well, now it takes 1 second less. So then you obviously go with the level 1. And like I said, if you prefer the other playstyle, not so chasey one, you go middle, left, and then middle. But yeah, for me at the moment, it is this one. And yeah, like I said, I would either only use her powder when they take a gap, or a cross base, or a bubble breakable, or to put it on a gate itself, using it during your chase. So if a victim is running, you right behind them and you wanna poison them while they're running, not a good idea. It most of the time will never work. Also, if you see a victim hiding in a bush and you go there, it can work, but the experienced victim know what's up and your animation just takes way too long that they run away before your poison goes out. Yeah, this is how I would use my poison. And then that's it. That's all you have to know about the new Sissy loadout on your skill tree. I hope this video was useful. I hope you like it. I hope you're going to have some nice and some good games with it in the future. And in case you did, make sure to like the video. And as always, if you feel super nice, comment in the video below or subscribe to my channel in case you didn't already. Thanks for watching and good luck in the next games. Bye bye.